All right, this is a digital mucoid cyst that we're going to be removing from this patient's toe. And let's first talk about what a digital mucoid cyst is. It's a cyst that grows from the joint on a toe, and that is usually growing from what we refer to as the distal interphalangeal joint. It's the joint at the end of the toe. So there's 3 bones in the toes, and you have 2 joints, a proximal joint, or one that is close to the foot, and then a distal joint, or one that is away from the joint. And these cysts will grow out of the joint that is away from the toe, just near the nail plate. And most patients will see these, they'll think they're a corn. Some patients think that they're a wart or they're a blister, and they'll see a clear fluid in it. And many times that fluid will leak out, and it's very thick and viscous. It's almost like pancake syrup or maple syrup, except it's clear, so it's kind of like sugar water or corn syrup, I guess would be another explanation of it. And it's thick and viscous, and that means that it's the joint fluid that's leaking out. So something that is serious in regards to these cysts, if you rupture it, or you try to puncture it with a needle or a pin, you're actually entering the joint of the toe. And if bacteria gets in that cyst and goes into the joint, you risk getting a joint infection. Now, if you get a joint infection, we call this septic arthritis. That's when the joint gets infected, and that can seed the bacteria to your bloodstream, which can then create a severe life-threatening infection known as sepsis. So these aren't something to treat lightly. If you have one of these, make sure that you see a physician, and make sure that your physician, whomever you see, if it's your family doctor, make sure that they know what it is, because sometimes these can be misdiagnosed as a wart or a blister, and as I said, you don't want to rupture it. So you can aspirate it, and that means you drain the fluid with a needle, and sometimes we'll enter a steroid into the joint to try to shrink the cells that grow the fluid, but many times that fails and this reoccurs. And you can see what we're doing here is we make an incision all the way down to the joint of the toe, and we actually have to excise a portion of the joint. So that's what I'm doing here. We're entering the distal interphalangeal joint of this toe, and we're scraping away some of the cellular components of that joint. And the reason that we're doing this is to prevent this from coming back, because if you simply just excise the tissue or the cyst and don't go into the joint, it can reoccur. So you can see I'm freeing up some of the tissue under it now, because we took a small portion of the skin out, and we have to do that because the tissue usually that makes up this cyst becomes very thin, and if we don't undermine or free up some of the adjacent tissue, it's not going to be elastic enough to close. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm undermining and freeing up some of that tissue so that we can get the incision edges to go back together. So here you can see that this is a great close-up and example of how we're entering the joint. And that's where those cells are that grow this cyst. And we want to make sure that we visualize as much of the abnormal tissue as we can. You can see I'm cutting out some of the extra soft tissue that could represent the sac of that cyst. And when you repair these, you want to make sure you close up that joint adequately, because if you don't, I'm going to back up. Now we're using a rasp, and we use this rasp again to just get any remaining tissue that could be cellular components of that mucoid cyst to prevent it from reoccurring, and we're smoothing the area down. This is just a joint rasp, and we're actually doing this procedure in the office. As long as you set up a sterile field and prep the foot with betadine solution, as you can see we've done here, you can many times do these in the office, although I will also do them in the operating room depending on how large the cyst is. So now we're flushing it out with some sterile saline solution just to make sure we get our tissues back to that normal homeostatic behavior and that they're nice and hydrated, as well as to flush out any bacterial contents of the wound or in that surgical site. After we flush it, I was beginning to tell you, you want to make sure you get the joint repaired, and you want that joint capsule back together, because if you don't, you can end up with what we call a mallet toe, where the end of that toe kind of looks like a mallet because the joint is not tight and it collapses and the toe kind of falls down. So you're going to see when we repair it, we want to make sure we get those skin edges as well as the deep structures of the capsule back together. So the stitch that I'm putting in is a vertical mattress stitch. So as you can see, I went through the skin and then I went deep through my joint capsule. I'm exiting the skin, and then I'm going to go back in through the skin and catch the superficial aspects. So a vertical mattress stitch will have two portions of that suture going through our wound or our incision. One part is deep, that's getting my joint capsule, and the other edge that I'm bringing back through here now is going to be superficial, and that's getting our skin edges. And you can see when we tie this off, we're tightening up both the joint capsule as well as the skin at the same time. And that is achieved with what we call a vertical mattress stitch. You see, we cut that. We have scissors built into our needle drivers. So needle drivers are the instrument that we have there that holds the needle. So that's how we suture during surgery. We have a curved needle that's connected to a nylon stitch, and nylon is a very low reactive type of suture, so the body does not have an allergy to nylon. It does not react to it, and you can keep that deep stitch in we'll usually leave these in for about 3 weeks, depending on how long it takes the incision to heal. Believe it or not, it takes the foot much longer to heal than your hand or your face, because we're farther away from the heart, so that incision takes much longer to heal. So a hand or a face incision will take roughly 7 to 10 days, sometimes even 5 days to heal before we can take those stitches out. But in the foot, it's anywhere from, I always say, 14 days to 21 days, I'll tell my patients. Now, if they come back in 10 days and I think it's looking really good, I'll let them get it wet, because remember, we want to keep this incision site dry for those first at least 7 to 10 days, because if water gets into that incision, it can introduce bacteria, and it can also cause the skin edges to become moistened, which will cause the incision to what we refer to as dehiss. It'll come unglued or open up. And then the other thing that you don't want to have happen is bacteria get in, because remember, that joint can get infected. So I did what were called those vertical stitches, and now I'm doing what we refer to as like a baseball stitch or a running stitch, where I tied off the ends, and we're just going to keep looping over and over and make sure that we get a nice, well coapted or well adhered incision. So this nylon stitch will stay in roughly 14 to 21 days. The patient can most likely get it wet around 10 days after we see them back. And that orange ring that you see on the toe, and that's a tourniquet. That is a simple tourniquet that we put on to control bleeding, because you don't want to have a lot of bleeding from the surgical field with something like this, because it disrupts your vision, your ability to see that joint. It makes things kind of messy. Could promote bacteria by bacteria adhering to that blood that gets left into the wound. So we like to do these, what we call, you're going to refer to it as a wet procedure or use a tourniquet. So after we're done, you can see there's like a little nylon band, and we're going to pull on that band, and that will remove the tourniquet away from the toe. We cut the tourniquet. Hyperperfusion is going to come back to this toe, which means the blood flow is going to come back. We're going to bandage it off, and the patient will be sent home. They're numb. I did not show the anesthesia that we used on this, but the patient won't feel anything. They'll get sent home with a gauze bandage on. That'll stay on for roughly a week. We'll see them back in the office and change the bandage. If you have any questions about digital mucoid cysts, feel free to drop them in the comments section below. If there's any different types of pathologies or injuries or ailments or foot conditions that you want to hear me talk about, or any specific surgeries, you can also ask those questions in the comment section below. I record all my surgeries. Anything foot or ankle that we do in the operating room gets recorded, and I'm doing my best to get them uploaded to educate both students, residents, as well as patients that are having these procedures done. I hope you enjoy these videos.